much for joining us. I'm Gill from Zero Waste Leeds, and I'm joined by Tracy, also one of the members of our team here. And we're here to chat about everything school uniform. I'm going to try and follow comments on my phone, but it's really tricky because my phone seems to not want to be on silent and still show me the comments. So I'll do my best, but if we don't manage to answer them during the session, we will definitely do that afterwards, but please put any questions or comments in there and we'll do our best to answer those. So I'm sure you know that Zero Waste Leeds, we're on a mission to create a movement of people across the city who want to help make Leeds a zero waste city. And under that banner, we sort of have various different projects that we do. This week is Leeds Fashion Futures Week, so we've been doing a project with the RSA, which is all about how we can be sustainable on a city level when it comes to fashion, and that's culminated in a week of events that we are putting out this week. And we thought during this time we'd use some time to chat about our Leeds School Uniform Exchange project, which we launched last year, and it just took off more than any of us could possibly have anticipated it, and it's been great. So thanks again for everybody who's supported us with the exchange, everybody who's donated, and everybody who has taken school uniform, second-hand school uniform for their children instead of buying new. So we just wanted to use the opportunity today to talk about our plans for this year. Another difficult year with COVID and schools being closed. And Tracy's joined us because, bless her, she set her own school uniform exchange up for around her local school. She's done an absolutely amazing job, and she's got all of that experience to share with us about how to set a school up, how to set an exchange up, pardon me, and how to get going with that. So so hopefully there'll be everything here that you need to know about school uniform exchanging. We are currently, we do have a map on our website of all of the exchange opportunities across Leeds, but what we're doing at the moment, and we will launch it in March, is we'll have a new Leeds School Uniform Exchange website, and that will just make it really easy. You'll go into the site and you'll be able to click on a button that says I've got uniform to donate, or this is uniform I want, and it will take you to a map, and you will be able to find the nearest exchange to you. And what we should make really clear is there's lots of different ways of running an exchange. So some of the exchanges are Facebook groups run by parents, so it might be just a parent at a school who set one up, and it's just a way of parents at the school swapping and exchanging uniform between themselves. And that's how it works for my daughter, who is at secondary school, and we just do that on our school Facebook site. We'll just put an offer out there for uniform that we've got or what we need, and some people try and sell it. It's quite hard to do, but if it's an item like a school coat or a blazer, then people will pay money for that because they're expensive items. But lots of people just give it away, and we've found over the time that we've been running Leeds School Uniform Exchange that giving it away essentially is the best way to do it, because it's actually quite hard to do anything else with. It's beyond your own networks, your opportunities to give school uniform away is quite hard. Charity shops don't always want it because they need a decent amount of it to make it meaningful, and it's quite hard for them to sell. So so we'll be launching our website in March, and as I said, it'd be really easy to find your local exchange. So there's Facebook sites, there are community-based exchanges, and what that usually means is that it's run by a community organisation like LS14 Trust in Leeds, for example, or Fresh Start in Morley, and they will run pop-up shops during school holidays. So you'll need to follow them to find out when the next pop-up shop is. Then there are also exchanges that are run at school. So that's either the school runs a formal exchange, or it could be led by the PTA, which used to happen at our local primary school. And we just used to put a selection of clothing out at the end of every half term that people could come and browse through. Or it could be that some schools will do a lost property redistribution. So they'll just like do a lost property amnesty. It all goes in the hall, and you can go and rummage through and see if there's anything there for you. But what's really clear, because primarily probably because of the COVID crisis and children not being at school, is that there is so much good quality school uniform out there, because it hasn't been worn, and it's been grown out of. So it's really, this year, if there was ever a year to make the most of this amazing resource in our city, thousands and thousands and thousands of items that we've been able to gather into various different exchanges, this is the year to make the most of that, and to really, it should be really easy to try and find the uniform you need. So Tracy, if I can bring you in here. So you were inspired to set a scheme up, and then I know you do it in a very, you've taken on a lot, and it's given you a lot of satisfaction. I know that, but it's quite a lot of work the way you've done it, but it's been really, really successful. How did you start?
So basically, I did a quick search on my local community sites to see whether anything was already happening. Couldn't find anything. Contacted, they're called the Well Project, and they're just basically like our little community charity. And they said, oh no, we did used to have a uniform in their charity shops, but as you said, Jill, very hard to get rid of. It's easier to get rid of uniform for free than it is to buy it. So I thought, well, you know what, I've learned from all of our documentation that we have on the website how to set one up. I simply went down the Facebook route, started a group, got the message out there, put it on all the community Facebooks around the area, and I was inundated. Unbelievable how much uniform I got within a space of a couple of weeks. My back room was full to the brim. So I ended up doing pop-up shops last August, just in our local market. And the Well Project were there to allow me to use the market for free, and just said to anybody, just come down, get what you need. If you can donate something, that's great, go towards the food bank. If not, just take what you need. I had so much. Two really, really good, successful pop-up shop events. And I still had stock left over. So I was like, well, what can I do with this? I don't want to send it to landfill or textile banks or anything, as I wanted to progress. Turned out that the Well Project had a little shop next to their charity shop that was available, and said, look, if you're happy to run it, we'll let you use it. I said, well, you know, I'm a working mum. I can't donate all my time to it, but I'll see if I can do sort of one day a week. And that's basically what happened. I filled the shop up with uniform, and it's just been amazing. Before lockdown, people were coming to visit the shop, taking what they needed. It was so rewarding. You know, people that were coming in that were really struggling were able to get the uniform, and it was decent quality stuff. I mean, obviously I do a quality check as well, but it was really decent stuff, and I managed to sort of give, and was receiving lots of donations as well. Since COVID, I've had to shut the shop, but I do a save. Basically, they send their requests in, I go to the shop, see if I've got it, and then we do a safe social distance exchange. And that seems to have worked, particularly since the government made the announcement that the schools are going back. I have been inundated with people saying, I need trousers, I need a blazer. They've grown out of it, they've put on weight, or they've just shot up, or the shoes don't fit. So for the past couple of days, I have been up and down at my little shop, getting as much as I can. And people are really, really appreciative of it. And because a lot of the shops aren't stocking it, or they've run out of stock.
Yeah.
A lot of the uniform specific shops are not open, obviously, because they're not essential. So it's just great to be able to give something back to people that, and it's not all of them are struggling financially, it's just they can't actually get their hands on anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of part of the message that we want to get across, is this is not just for people who are struggling financially. I mean, it's great if you can save some money, and surely everybody wants to save some money, but it's also about being more sustainable, isn't it? It's about having a resource. I've got some props here. So my little dresses, everybody who's got a girl in primary school will recognize these little dresses. This was the colour of my daughter's, and the design hasn't changed. She's 15 now, and I remember the first day she went to school in this. but
virtually indestructible as well.
it is absolutely indestructible. It's such good quality, and this is what we're trying to demonstrate. This is, you could not choose this from new. And I remember last year we did a photograph of your daughter Tamara, didn't we, in a new one and in a second-hand one, and there was absolutely no way of telling the difference. They were both great quality. So why would you not go and pick up something like this for free, rather than buy something else and use a resource that already exists in our city? And in terms of volume, I mean, give us an idea of the scale of the donations. And this is just you in your local area, isn't it?
Yeah, just a tiny little area, you know, unbelievable. I think within 2 days, I'd got like 30 big bin bags full of stuff. And when I took it on, my husband was like, oh, you know, you won't get that much. Within like the end of the week, it's like, where are you going to put all this stuff? It was amazing. And I think people wanted to give it away rather than, you know, go tip it or textile bank it or whatever. They did feel like they were passing it on.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is so much out there. It's unbelievable how much. I mean, I've got a tiny little shop and it is absolutely full to the rafters. It really is.
That's something we really learned, and I agree with you there. I think school uniform, because it is quite hard to give away, and if you are trying to be sustainable, you really don't want to take it to the textile bank if it's in great condition, do you?
That's right.
You want to do something with it. So as soon as we gave people an opportunity to do something with it, we had an absolute influx of donations. And I know from the donations that you got, you gave us boxes and boxes and boxes of generic uniform, just like these dresses and plain jumpers and plain trousers, that we've been able to use to stock up other community-based shops in the city. So that's the other really great thing about the uniform project, is that we can use it to get uniform from areas where there's a surplus of it to areas where it's really, really needed. And on the new website, there will be a member login. So for anyone who's running a uniform scheme, and it could just be a Facebook page, you don't have to be running a full community shop or anything, but there'll be a way of registering as a member and then being able to connect with other people who are running schemes like you. Maybe just share advice and information, you know, like over COVID, we had a lot of people asking questions about how do I make this, when things reopened, how do I make it COVID safe? So we shared a lot of that information between people, but also actually sharing the uniform. So, you know, someone will ring up and say, I've got more red jumpers than I need. Does anyone else want it? And that we'll be able to do that within the website. So it'll be that'll be really great to get the uniform to where it's most needed. And then you mentioned you do a quality check. So talk us through like the quality of donations. What happens there?
Well, yeah, you know, I just I basically check, you know, the hems are okay. And to be honest, if it's just stitching, I'll stitch it myself. And don't get me wrong, I'm no seamstress, but it's easy to do. Put a button on or whatever. If there's, you know, a bit of a stain on it, I do tend to try and wash it first, give it a chance. And if it's still on there, then I'm afraid it'll have to go to a textile bank. But it's common sense, really. Would you want your child to wear it? And if not, then it has to be separated.
Yeah.
But to be honest, most of the people have brought their uniform to me washed, ironed, fully laundered, you know, really presentable. So I haven't really had to do much sorting out at all. It's not. But when people sort of think, oh God, it's, you know, it's too much to take on, it really isn't. It's so easy to do, and it's so rewarding.
And I think, I mean, you're right. People do that's a good rule of thumb, isn't it? If it's something that you'd be happy for your child to wear, then happy to accept that as a donation. And you're right, people do. Oh, there you go.
This is from our charity shop, and it's absolutely, you know, the cuffs are fine. It's absolutely in perfect condition. I mean, that was the greatest thing of starting at the shop, is I did not spend a single penny on uniform for my 2 children last year, and I think I'll continue to do that. I have no problem with secondhand. The stigma with secondhand is in my opinion, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
When you've got such good quality stuff like that, then you just take it. You just use
Exactly.
it.
When you can't tell the difference between second-hand and new, you know, just
Correct.
why would you? Absolutely, why would you? And I think that, you see, the other thing is that I think people have in their minds, like the old-fashioned charity shop that maybe used to smell a bit funny when you walked in, and you know, but the community groups, and I know your shop is the same, but the community groups we worked with last year, quality is such an important part, because it's how that uniform is presented. It makes it so much easier. I mean, even though it's free, we're giving it away, but it makes it so much easier to give away. When people were going to Fresh Start in Morley and they walked into that room, it looked like they were going into a school uniform shop, not that they were going into a second-hand shop. It was beautifully presented. The quality was easy to see, and I went a few times, and people, you know, they genuinely were able to kit their kids out from top to toe. Some people had more than one child, and they were walking out with arms full of stuff, and it's great. And we did some research that showed that the cost of school uniform for one child over a year, including coat, bag, PE kit, trainers, replacing shoes they've grown out of, is about £350. And if you've got 3 children, that's £1,000. And that's a cost that comes largely all at once during the school holidays. So you really can save a huge amount of money and get something that you can't tell from new.
And also, there's a lot of high schools, particularly, that are insistent on having logos on their trousers, the shirts, the skirts, you name it. They insist on having these logos. It's so much more expensive just to have that logo on than it is without. So to be able to share with someone that is struggling, or at that particular time can't afford to buy, you know, a £30-40 blazer, to be able to give it for free, they're just so appreciative of it. And the lifetime of it goes on and on for that blazer, you know. It's not just for one child, it can move on and on.
Yeah, when people come into your shop, are they what's their response? Are they surprised by the quality?
Totally surprised. They just said to me, oh, it's like, you know, a proper uniform shop. And all I've done is folded the t-shirts and hung up the trousers and skirts and the blazers and whatever. I wanted to make it as I would want, you know, it to look. They're just absolutely amazed. And the response now, the schools have got on board with me. At first they were like, oh, well, we kind of do this on our own, but now they actually send me people. They say, oh, well, why have you tried to contact the Uniform Exchange? They're on Facebook, you know, go that way. And it's great that the schools are now on board and realise, actually, times are tough at the minute, really tough. And if they can help a family that's struggling just for their uniform, then it gives them a good impression as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we're avoiding waste by doing it as well, which
Absolutely.
is great. Yeah. And it's an interesting point that you raise about logo. So the thing about logos is, I mean, that's a whole separate conversation about whether they're actually necessary or not. But some schools insist on them. Some schools, you know, they prefer them. But the thing about some of our uniform exchanges, so when you go on our new website, if you put your school in and it doesn't come up, don't stop there. Because if at your school you can wear generic uniform, so it's just a red jumper, a blue jumper, grey trousers, there will be a community-based scheme in Leeds, not too far from you, that you can go and pick that stuff up. And either that will be a pop-up shop and you'll need to just keep your eye out for the dates for that, or it'll be a Facebook group. So you join the group, and so because some of the Facebook groups cover a number of different schools, and we're trying to gather that information in now because I think it's probably outdated from last year, but they'll cover a number of different schools, and all you need to do is join the group and see what's on offer. And then we've also got our branded Facebook, which is Leeds School Uniform Exchange, so you can always go on there and either put the photographs of the stuff that you've got to donate, or go and see what people have got and see if any of that is of use to you. And this is not just for parents. Like you said,
No.
Schools sending referrals is great. We need to reach more and more people, and schools are great for that. We've also got community workers and social workers. We had a lot of social workers over the summer who were visiting the exchanges to pick up the uniform for the kids that they want. And just to say, because you've gone into it in really quite an in-depth and brilliant way, but it doesn't have to be so time consuming. You could just at your school just set a Facebook page up and let people get on with it. So that's you just setting the page up, giving people the infrastructure they need.
Yeah.
And tell everybody in your school about that Facebook page and get them using it and putting on, you know, a pair of shoes that your child's grown out of, or asking if anyone's got that blazer. And that's a more self-organizing, less time-consuming way. And as you mentioned before, we've got resources on our current website, and they'll be updated for the new one that is exactly step-by-step how to set that Facebook group up. And then if you are going to go into it in more in depth as a parent or as a school or community group, there's also a guide for you there with all of the things that you need to consider, like quality checking, storage, accessibility, marketing. All of that stuff is there in the guide for you. And then the other thing we probably ought to talk about is waste, because inevitably there will be things that you can't give away in the shop. What do you do with that?
Well, I sort of bag it up, keep it separate. When I've got enough, I'll take it to either to the recycling centre, because they've got textile bins there, or we do have in our local car park a textile bin there as well. Just so that I know that it's going to be reused again, whether it's turned into rags and into a totally different thing. But at least I know it's not physically going to landfill.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's another thing just to mention. We launched our zero waste fashion map yesterday, which is on our website. We'll put more links to it. And that gives you all of the textile banks in Leeds, because what we need to absolutely avoid is any of this stuff, even if it's, full of holes, it needs to be going in a textile bank and not in your black bin. And what you'll find is that there's a textile bank near you, guaranteed. There'll be something that's not too far, or you can build into a journey. There are lots just on a street near you, or in a supermarket car park near you, or on a fire station forecourt near you. And obviously at the recycling centres, the council tips, they've all got textile banks. And I think people don't realise, and I think sometimes the banks actually put you off because they say that they want really good quality stuff. Well, they do, because obviously they try and resell, reuse and resell first before it's turned into something else. But you can literally put something that's full of holes, the odd holy sock, or the jumper that's come to the absolute end of its life, can go in there, because like you say, it can be turned into something else. So we're trying to avoid waste, and school uniform could make up it could make up waste, because it's hard to know what to do with it. So we want to sort of overcome that problem as well.
I think the best tip is if you've got anything that's cannot possibly be passed on, put it in a bag and label that bag rags, so that when they're sorting through, they know that needs to go in a separate pile, rather than just putting all the clothes in together. It's harder for them to sort through and decide, is this any good or not. So that's what I've been doing. I literally just black marker the bag rags, and then at least the sorting officer will know that material is not for reuse. It's to be recycled.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've got a rag bag here, so I put all the socks with holes in and things that have just, and then so there's only 3 of us and we all know what we're doing. And then I've just found Leah's old leggings that have got holes everywhere in the bin. I know, it should be in the rag. So I've had to fish them out of the bin to go in the rag bag, which will be going to the textile bank. Sometimes it's such a pain trying to be waste free and sustainable.
Sometimes it is easier just to put it in the bin, but as we well know, to put textiles in the bin, it clogs up the machinery, doesn't it? So that's why they actually ask you, please don't put textiles in your household waste bin.
Exactly, and it can be turned into something else. Genuinely, mattress stuffing, soundproofing it. You know, it can have a life as something else. So hopefully, we've inspired you. If you were thinking about setting up an exchange, get in touch. Look at the resources on our website. Look for the launch of the new website, which is looking great. I have to tell you, we've had a meeting about that this morning. It's looking really good. It should be really easy to use, and all of the resources will be there. But they are there already on our. They're just on a page on our site. We'll put some links there. And any questions you've got, if there's any uniform you want, hopefully you can see by what you've shown you. And this, I've got boxes and boxes of these, and I know you're the same, Tracy.
Yeah.
I've got mountains, which is they're going to make the way to a school uniform reuse exchange near you. Go along to them, keep an eye out, see what's there, and go there first before buying anything new.
I
You will
agree.
be amazed. Be absolutely amazed. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tracy.
Welcome.
And I'll see you all soon.